Oh my goodness. What did we just watch? What did we just watch? I cannot believe that game. We're doing a post-game show. But how can you do a post-game show when you don't even know what you just watched? Like, insane.
Dude.
Like, crazy. Like, it's like a relationship with, like, a family member, like an aunt, that you're, like, she's related to you. But
I hope your aunt is related to you.
But like sometimes you love her, but then she starts talking about like politics when you're trying to eat some turkey, and then you hate her, and it's like that.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's like the Eagles, man. Like what are they doing to us? This is crazy.
Yeah, so many games, like, and this one, just so much stress the entire game that we play. And it's like, 1 minute you're like, oh, we're going to lose. And the next you're like, yes, this is the most exciting game ever. And you're like, oh, I hate the Eagles. And you're like, I love them. And then it's like just back and forth the entire game. And then you're like, Saquon rushes for over 200 yards against the Rams again this season. And then you're like, oh, we're going to lose. And then Jalen Carter with the best sack of the game. And then
relief.
It got sketchy there, okay? Like, when we talk about this game.
So sketchy's the perfect word. It was sketchiest game I've ever watched.
It got very sketchy. There was so many different fumbles both ways, okay, that ended up being covered by the team that fumbled. But there was a ton of fumbles both ways. The teams could not hang on to the ball. Everybody was slipping around in the sno.
Did we fumble it at all?
Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen.
And Cooper muffed punt.
Oh, yeah. Wait, when was the Jalen fumble?
He got, like, stood up for a sack, and they knocked it loose. And then Kenny got it.
And then Kenny Gainwell jumped on it.
Oh, I do remember that one, yeah.
Yeah. See, there were just so many crazy plays.
Yeah.
There
was so many crazy... Yeah, it was insane. And then, like, okay, there was one point during the third... Was it the third quarter or fourth quarter? It was 15-14, right?
Yep. After the safety.
There was a safety.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts gave up 7. I feel like 6 out of those 7 sacks were on Jalen Hurts for not throwing the ball away.
It seemed like his mobility was not there after he hurt his knee. Like, he just couldn't... He didn't scramble.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. That's a big issue.
For sure.
Jalen Hurts, a big part of him is his ability to scramble. And they obviously take that safety, and we're talking about, like, what happens about the season? Does Nick Sirianni get fired? Like, all this stuff is what we're talking about. And I don't know if that's justified or not. But right after that, Saquon, they get the forced fumble. Okay, Jalen Carter, forced fumble, almost return it for a touchdown, get to the 1-yard line, and then don't score a touchdown because Lane Johnson, of all people, jumps offside. Like, what?
False start.
I can't believe that.
And Jake Elliott missed 2 extra points that made it even more stressful. Like, just, there were so many little things. A.J. Brown dropped the touchdown pass. There were so many little things that it could have been so much easier.
Oh, it totally could have.
Yeah.
And those 2 forced fumbles towards the end of the game were huge.
Oh,
huge.
Massive.
And then Saquon.
So huge.
Yeah. Saquon and Jalen Carter. Yeah. Ridiculously important to this team.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They're some of the biggest pieces that we have right now, and that are going to carry us. And I mean, Saquon, not super young. Hopefully he'll be good for another couple of years. But Jalen Carter is so young, and he's so talented. He's going to carry that defensive line for a long, long time to come.
Remember when he fell to us at number 10 in the draft, and everyone was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And it's worked out pretty well. Parker said in the pregame show, for anyone who watched that, he was like, Jalen Carter is my favorite player. He's going to do amazing. I said Jalen Carter was going to be the X factor. So just, again, shout out to us for crushing that. Score prediction, I said 28-21.
You were pretty close.
Pretty close. A little closer than we wanted it, but
it was 28-22.
Off by 1.
Yeah, so, literally, that's a pretty good score prediction.
Do I win something for that?
You should. You should. I thought it was so funny that after...
High five.
After all that, the over-under, or like the total point differential was like 5.5. The Eagles were favored by. They ended up winning by 6. Like, that's always how it seems to work out.
Yeah, just take what the betting line is and add like 2. That's probably around where it'll be.
Right.
Not a blowout win. So, yeah, shout out to the Rams. They played a great game. We were saying shout out to Jared Verse. We wanted him to not do well in this game, but with the way he played, you have to respect that he was just playing the villain role, and he clearly embraced it.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1 win away, and it's against the Commanders. We'll get to that. We're gonna be live until 7, so let's talk about this game. Probably until like 6:50, and then we'll spend the last 10 minutes on the Commanders, because we will be doing a longer form pregame show live on Saturday to be able to fully preview the NFC Championship game. So we won't get entirely into that, but yeah, this game it started out amazing.
It did.
The Jalen run,
yeah,
and then the Jake Elliott missed extra point, I think, kind of summarized how the rest of the game would go. Like the highs and the lows of like, this is amazing. Oh, okay. Well, and then it just continued in that roller coaster way the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and then they gave up. Obviously, they gave up a touchdown immediately after that.
Yeah.
So that's not the best. But honestly, the defense played pretty well. All things considered. You were right. Kyron Williams-Owen was gashing the Eagles. He had over 100 rushing yards, and he kept having some big plays. So it is also concerning. The Eagles have a history now of, giving up late game touchdowns. They gave up a late game touchdown to the Falcons. Same thing to the Commanders.
That's the only way they've lost.
Same thing this game.
Starters. Yeah.
Right. It's just giving up late game touchdowns like that.
It's those 2-minute drill drives where they seem to struggle the most.
Yeah.
It's that hurry up. They just really struggle against that hurry up offense.
They allow dink and dunks. They don't give up big plays, but they just 10 yards at a time.
Chip. Yeah.
Man, and they didn't get in a single interception this game, but the forced fumbles were huge.
Yeah.
And guess what? Jalen Hurts, I feel like he had a pretty bad game. But he didn't throw an interception. Okay, he didn't do that.
He took a lot of sacks.
He took a ton of sacks.
But that was the worst thing he did.
But that was, at least he didn't throw the ball away.
He could have had a touchdown pass to AJ.
Throwing the ball away would have been better than sacks.
I mean, yeah. There were a couple times
throwing interceptions would have been worse. Yeah.
But yeah, he had a couple. AJ dropped 2 balls. Those weren't on Jalen. He had a couple bad throws. Definitely not his best game at all. Parker was calling for him to be benched. So
I was. Yeah, and I still honestly
not to mention that Dallas Goedert almost touchdown to the one that got called back.
Yes,
that touchdown would have also put us up a lot as well.
Yeah, if you
that would have helped a lot.
If you have that play and you also have the AJ Brown, he muffed that catch, really close to the end zone there. If you would have had those 2 plays, I mean, his yards would have looked a lot better. I still don't get, why are we giving the ball back to the Rams in the 4th quarter? Like, why don't you run the ball with Saquon 3 times, make them use their timeouts? Instead, you do a bootleg.
You do where Jalen drops back 10 yards.
Yeah, in the snow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, clearly he tried to plant there, and he slipped up a little bit. But even with his bad knee, he probably still would have gotten pummeled. I just give it to the guy who has rushed for over 200 yards in this game, who has rushed for over 200 yards against the Rams twice this season. Why are we not putting the ball in his hands and just leaving it there? I don't care what you do. I don't care if he gets half a yard. Half a yard is better than -10.
Yeah, because you have the potential to break a 76-yarder like he did the previous possession.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. What are you doing with that play call? You literally are gifting the ball back to the Rams after they just got momentum on offense and scored a touchdown.
Yeah. And I mean, if Braden Mann has to punt from, the 30 is or 20 is kind of where we were versus the 10, that whole difference in yards is going to be so big for the Rams. It's so advantageous,
And it clearly was.
It really clearly was, yeah.
Yeah. So, very, very stressful. The Eagles have not, since the Cowboys game, which I guess only these 2 playoff games, but in both of these playoff games, it doesn't feel like the Eagles have had an emphatic win where they really punctuated it. It's felt like they escaped both times. Just oh, thank goodness we got through that. There hasn't been we thought that Saquon one was a knockout punch. That's what it is. It's like boxing. They haven't won with a knockout yet. They've all just outlasted the opponent and just gotten through. They haven't knocked someone out yet.
Right. Right.
We're actually saving our knockout punch for the Super Bowl.
Dude, I would love that. If you
that would be great.
If you can do that, that would be awesome.
If you're watching right now and you're listening, give us your most like best play of that game, because there was so many plays.
Yeah. Let's talk about the good.
Yeah, and they did end up winning. Okay, so it was a little bit hairier than we wanted.
A win's a win, no matter what. Unless you're the Chiefs, then it's the refs that won.
And they covered too. Like, they weren't supposed to win by this many technically. Like the line was 5.5. So like, I know it seems hairy, but like they covered. So
things can happen. Like the Lions. Like just the fact that you got to the NFC Championship game, you're one of the last 4 teams. You're gonna be favored. You get to play a home game to go to the Super Bowl.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's electric.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so good.
This is best case scenario for us.
Yeah.
We get to the NFC Championship game and get to play it at home. Like there's not a better scenario.
It's gonna be amazing, dude. Hopefully it doesn't snow again, because that, like we said, how this game was sketchy. Like it felt like any play, something could go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And it was so scary. But the game at the link, hopefully no snow, against the Commanders, who beat us the last time we played them, and we're gonna talk about it. It's gonna be amazing. I think to kick off best play, my favorite play was the Jalen Carter sack right before the 4th down, on 3rd down, to
seal the game.
4th down, because he had been getting doubled all game. He finished the game with 2 sacks, and on the final 4th down, he's the one who hits Stafford to force him to throw it out of bounds. So just Jalen Carter, and he forced the fumble on the first fumble that was forced. He punched it out and then Bond grabbed it. So like almost all of the big defensive plays were from Jalen Carter.
Yeah. Oh man, Jalen Carter, what a stud, man. I think my favorite play, and I said it when it happened, was just the momentum swinger when Jalen Carter forced that first fumble that he had. Because at that point it was a 1-point game. And so he forced that fumble. The Eagles picked it up and took it down to the 10-yard line. It was like, whoa, you literally are saving the game right now, because the Rams had all the momentum up to that point, and Jalen Carter forcing that fumble was like, it saved, I feel like, their season at that time. And he did it again later in the game with that play that you were just talking about, Alan. Jalen Carter literally saved the Eagles' season, I think, like 2 or 3 times that game.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to be different and not pick that Jalen Carter sack at the end there, I'll just take the Saquon, his second rushing touchdown there late in the game. I mean, it obviously wasn't the knockout punch we hoped it would, but if he doesn't score that touchdown, we don't win that game.
Yep.
That's just like, I mean, clearly the Rams had the momentum to drive down the field and get the touchdown and almost get another one. But, I mean, that touchdown gave us enough of a cushion that it was just okay. But, like, that was such a huge play. It was a momentum shift. It was a defining moment, especially for Saquon and his season.
Did you see what Saquon said to Jalen Hurts right before he ran? He said, like, ESPN caught it, the camera caught it.
Yeah.
But he said to Jalen, like, I like what I see, when they were lined up next to each other. He said, I like what I see. And then once he ran, he got the touchdown. Like, what a stud. Like, he just saw their alignment and was like, oh man, I'm going to have an opening. And then he just hit the gap for like over 70 yards. Crazy.
Him smacking his helmet as he runs down.
The
crowd going crazy in the background in slow-mo is just iconic.
In the snow, too.
And the fact that against the Packers, there was that hilarious mic'd up moment where he could have broken it at the end, and Smitty and AJ are yelling at him like, take it! And now this game, he had a very similar run to the left side, and he got to take it this time. So poetic. My dad said initially that his favorite was the first play where they just ran a nice little toss to Goddard for 8 yards because it was peaceful. But then he changed it to Jalen's rushing touchdown. So the two things that happened. Good, the 2 things that happened before it started to go bad.
Yeah, it was great that first drive. You're right, 100%.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, so bingo. That was the other thing. Before we move to the Commanders, let's discuss bingo real quick. We were close. We were close.
We were pretty close.
We almost had it. There were 2 ways that we were 1 away from bingo. if we had gotten a Jalen Hurts tush push TD, which we would have gotten.
Oh,
it was so
we were
close.
Lane Johnson false start away.
Yes.
That is a rookie mistake. And on a veteran, like Lane doesn't do that.
One of the longest
He's ran that
Eagles.
play 100 million times.
And honestly, I don't know what I'm more upset about. The fact that we didn't get touchdown out of that, or the fact that our bingo card didn't hit because of that. Like, both reasons made me mad, and I think I really wanted the bingo card to succeed, so I think I might be more upset about that. Because we ended up winning the game, obviously, but...
Yeah. So, yeah, we had that, the tush push, we were inches away, we were millimeters away from getting that. And then the other one was we needed a Reed Blankenship interception. We were one away from that because the ones that we hit on that were in our bingo rows were we had Jalen Hurts quarterback draw for over 10 yards, Eagles Snow Angel celebration. We were hype about that one. Right after that actually happened.
I feel like they almost didn't show it. They showed it in the pan right before they went to commercial too.
Yes, I know. It was so clutch. Like, that was right after the forced fumble, which is another one. We had the D-line forced fumble, which they ended up doing twice.
Yeah. So shout out to my dad for putting that one in the chat. The Snow Angel celebration was our favorite. AJ Brown 2 slant catches. His 2 catches of the game, I believe.
Yeah, his
were just the 2
slants.
We also got first half failed screen, which was 2 yards. We lastly went for 2 yards.
Went for 2 yards.
Kyron Williams 15+ yard run, did that a couple times, and Braden Mann punt inside the 10, which he had a beautiful one.
He had a nice punt.
Shout out to the Rams punter, dude. He had 2 inside the 10.
He stuffed them.
He was crushing it. Evans was his last name. I don't remember his first name, but shout out to him. Next week we will be live again for pregame. So we'll do bingo again for Eagles Commanders. McClister, Luke McClister will be there to help us, hopefully. It's still TBD, but Luke McClister could be joining us. If you guys have been with us for a while, Luke McClister has been on 2 episodes, I believe. I think he's been on one full one, and he made a cameo another time.
Yeah.
But he's been on one full episode. Commanders fan, so we will have a little impartiality, or not impartial, we'll have balance, basically. So we will do a bingo card for that game, and that'll be really fun to do with a Commanders fan also. And hopefully we can get bingo for the first time in our bingo history, because we're right so there. We're looking for it.
Every time.
Yep.
We're getting better. I think this was probably our best performance.
It was. We were
in a bingo.
Literally only a false start away from getting the bingo. So
closest we've ever gotten.
Literally millimeters. Like, I mean, not even millimeters. Lane Johnson didn't move. He just flinched a little bit. So make a flinch.
Yeah. Another thing that I remembered that we did last year was conference championship weekend. We did a touchdown draft. And I thought that was really fun. Where we drafted Lions, Niners, Ravens, and Chiefs players, and then just like however many touchdowns your guy scored, you got
that's
those.
right. We did do that.
I would like to nominate that we do that again next weekend.
I agree.
I think that was a blast.
We totally should. Yeah.
We definitely should.
So again, just another thing to keep an eye out for. So yeah, next weekend, the Commanders. I remember us discussing in like week 17 at Luke's house how we wanted the Commanders in round 1. Like we were like we want to play him again. We want to beat him. We think we can beat him.
Have our thoughts changed? Have our thoughts changed?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm scared.
A little bit.
All right, tell us what your thoughts are, Luke.
I mean, they obviously looked great against the Lions, and now that after this game, we're a little banged up right now. I think we can beat them. I know we can beat them, but I also am like, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a tough game. As much as I hate to say it, because our defense is really what is so strong, I think it's going to be an offensive matchup. I think Terry's going to torch us like he does every time he plays us. And especially if we don't have Quignon in there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he torched Quignon last time we played him, but I think Terry's going to torch us, and I think that we're just going to have to play an amazing offensive game in order to beat them.
Yeah.
Which is scary because we have not seen that yet in the playoffs.
And we haven't seen
it in the defense.
We haven't seen...
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. We haven't seen Jalen Hurts, obviously throw for a lot of passing yards, which if it gets into a shootout, he might have to do that. But we could just keep relying on Saquon. The game plan has been working.
Exactly. If we can just hang in with them offensively, I think our defense, even as banged up as it seems to be, is better than their defense.
Oh yeah.
And I think that as long as we can just hang in there with them offensively, I don't think we'll have a problem. But I think we just can't let them get too far ahead.
I think the big thing will be turnovers because Jaden Daniels has done such a good job at not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
They go for it on 4th down. He doesn't turn it over, so they do a really good job of being efficient with their offensive possessions.
Yeah.
So if the Eagles can even get one turnover, like we said, with Jalen's been doing a good job not turning it over, and the Eagles defense has forced turnovers in the playoffs, and that's what's allowed them to win. So
or if we can at least
pick off Daniels once, awesome.
Yeah, if we can just win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Even if Jalen makes a mistake and gets a turnover, if we just win the turnover battle, I think that's a huge part of that game.
And they put up 45. They put up 45 points, the Commanders, against the Lions. But the Eagles are not going to play the same defense as the Lions. I don't know what they would do.
16 players. The Lions have 16 players on injured reserve. A lot of that comes from the defense.
Yeah, and their scheme is to blitz every time. Like, they kept doing the same thing, and Jaden Daniels was collected against the blitz every single time they sent it. The Eagles are just going to rush 4. They're not going to blitz a whole lot. Vic Fangio is not a huge blitzer. So I think that the scheme is going to be totally different than what the Commanders saw today. They've obviously played each other twice already, so they do know each other. It'll be interesting to see Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback, going into the link. I think if you're the Eagles, this is what you want.
The last time the Eagles faced a rookie quarterback in the NFC Championship was the last time they were in the NFC Championship with Brock Purdy, and he didn't last very long in that game.
Yeah.
So, not saying that Jaden Daniels will get knocked out of the game, but a rookie quarterback has never gone to the Super Bowl. So hopefully that trend
keep
continues.
It that way.
But like Parker was telling us the stat of a running back has never who rushed for over 200 against the team has never rushed for over 100 against them in the playoffs, and Saquon smoked that. So these things don't always hold up. But yeah, a rookie quarterback in the link would be just a crazy thing for them to pull off. So the Eagles could definitely be favored. It's gonna be scary. It's gonna get talked about all week, like how good the Commanders' offense is. Their offense is gonna get hyped up like crazy, and I do believe in the Eagles' defense. Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. They'll probably give up some points, but I think because the Commanders' offense will get hyped up so much, and after you saw them score 45, that even if the Eagles' defense does all right, people will be impressed because they'll be like, "Wow, they held them to 30. Under 30." Yeah.
Do you think whoever gets 30 wins? Do you think that
probably? Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If you get to 30 points, you win. Does that qualify as a shootout? I guess 30 to 28 could be.
I think 50 plus total points, I think, is getting close to a shootout.
Yeah. If both teams are pushing 30, that makes sense.
Right.
You could call that a shootout. So, yeah, that's gonna be a really exciting game. By next week, I don't have the stat right now. I'll have it for our show on Saturday. But I know that there is a stat out there of it's very unlikely. It doesn't happen very often that a team that beat a team twice in the regular season beats them a third time in the playoffs. It's it doesn't happen very often. Most of the time that other team wins. That lost 2 times in the regular season wins the third time. Obviously that's always
split.
Well, that's what I'm getting to is that it was good that the Eagles lost. We were sad at the time.
Okay.
But now it's good because it's motivation. You don't have to worry about that stat. We're good. Although also the last time the Eagles had that, they beat the Giants twice in 2022 and then they cooked them in the divisional round. So they've beaten that stereotype before. And that's always going to be divisional teams because you only play them. They're the only team you play twice. So any playoff game against a division rival is going to be crazy. So
I think this just shows that the NFC East had the best division this year. I mean, you got...
Yeah, they thought it was the North.
I mean... Yeah.
You got...
That's crazy. I would not have said that the NFC East would have 2 teams in the NFC Championship.
And if you did say that, we would have thought it was the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
I just can't believe the Giants could... Right now, the Giants' QB could literally be Jaden Daniels, and their running back could be Saquon Barkley. Isn't that insane?
Dude, that's so funny.
They would probably be one of the best teams if their quarterback was Jaden Daniels. Well, actually, I don't know because their front office is so bad.
They'd still find a way to mess it up pretty bad.
Yeah, probably.
But they would be better.
And it's crazy that they could have.
Oh, that's so.
They could literally have two of the best skill position guys in the whole league right
They
now.
could have the offensive rookie of the year, or they could have the offensive rookie of the year and the offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
On their team. And instead
they're on rival teams.
And they would
in the same conference.
And
division.
except they'd probably still be awful because their offensive line would not give them any help at all.
Daniels would be getting sacked. Saquon would be like injured. Yeah, they'd just waste it.
That's true.
Which goes to show the trenches are so important. The Eagles have always invested in offensive and defensive line. We've complained about Howie doing that sometimes, but it's paid off.
Yeah.
Especially in games like this. Like, you're so glad to have those guys when you're playing in playoff games in Philadelphia in January.
Like, Jalen Carter, man, this was his... I feel like this was his coming out party. We've obviously we know Jalen Carter has been a stud all year, but, like, this game, he was literally a game wrecker. Like, we knew that he could be a game wrecker, but this game, that fourth quarter... Oh my goodness!
Legendary.
This is like what we envisioned when we drafted him 10th overall.
Yeah.
Back 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like for this moment, and he finally showed this is what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so cool to watch because he could be a baby like Fletcher Cox. You know what I mean? This is
he could be better than Fletcher Cox.
I know. But what I'm saying is this is the first
Yeah.
huge moment that he just had.
Mm-hmm.
Like this game right here, and we knew it was coming, and so we finally got to see it. It's just so awesome, so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Also, before we hop off, mini shout out to Oren Burks.
Great
stepping
call.
up for Nakobe Dean. Obviously, Nakobe, that injury hurts us so much, but Burks had a great game for a step-in linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Had some big plays, had that pass breakup. He had a great game. He played smart. He played well. So shout out to him for his play style and his playing that game.
We were giving him a hard time early on because he missed one tackle. But second half, lights out. He was fantastic.
He had some big plays,
pass
for
with
sure.
his elbow.
Yep.
He had some big stops in the backfield. Yeah, great call, Luke, because we almost forgot about him. He was crucial in this game.
Slay, 3 pass breakups.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Fantastic.
After Quignon went out, I got really scared because I was like, Slay is always good to get injured for 2 or 3 plays here and there. And if Slay and Quignon were out, I mean, Rodgers and Ringo on the sides is kind of tough. I mean, would they have shifted DeJean out to the side, do you think?
They might have. Yeah.
It still would have been sketchy.
It would have been so sketchy.
Yeah, Rodgers wasn't terrible. Rodgers was so close on 2 or 3 different ones.
I think it was twice on Cup. He had his hands in there, and Cup just it's just that veteran receiver just wrestled it out.
Yeah, and Robinson did that on the jump ball.
Oh, it was Robinson on the first one, and then Cup on that other one.
Yeah.
But
so Rodgers was there, but didn't quite make it. So yeah, hopefully Quignon is okay for next week. We'll see. We'll know more.
I'm hoping it's nothing much.
Yeah,
and
it didn't look crazy.
Hopefully Jalen too.
His knee.
His knee looked bad. It looked bad.
It did not look good. I mean, he played the rest of the game, but he also did not look nearly as mobile.
So we gotta keep an eye on that and figure out.
And then also game plan around him not being able to move as well.
Yeah. Because he was running so well. He ran for 50 yards. I mean, that big game, but he had 6 rushes for 60 yards or something. And then, nothing in the second half. So hopefully he's okay. We'll see how healthy they are coming into next week. We'll know more on Saturday. So thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you managed to survive the game without a heart attack like we barely did. So yeah, we'll see you on Saturday to be ready for the NFC Championship game.
Let's go.
Oh, it's gonna be so exciting. Hopefully we are able to have Commanders fan McClister joining us. All 3 of us should be here. Might be our first ever 4-box show.
Sure.
We've never had that happen before. We had McClister on, and he and Luke shared a box, so that was still 3. So yeah, tune in on Saturday. We'll be posting about that. Go Birds. Thank you guys for joining the post-game show. That's what there we go. share this with a friend because we are over 900 subscribers. We're making our push for 1,000.
We gotta get it before the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
That'd be crazy.
We have to
sub for the Super Bowl. If you guys subscribe, the Eagles will make it and win the Super Bowl. Hashtag sub for the Super Bowl. Share this, and
that's the only way they'll win.
We've got to get it before the Super Bowl.
Otherwise, they won't win.
We're making a push. We're making a push to 1,000.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it before the Eagles win the Super Bowl. All right? It'll happen, and then we'll have a big 1,000 subscriber special.
Yeah, which will probably be celebrating the Eagles winning the Super Bowl because we got to 1,000. So it'll work out perfectly.
We'll go to the parade. We'll go to the parade and
that would be so fun.
With all
I would love
Luke would have to
go into the parade.
School.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
Well, we can do it for you, Luke.
I mean, if you just get like a doctor's
want to go to the parade
that's
so
like
bad.
up to parade.
Yeah, you can parade. Parade for a day.
We'll see.
If we get to 1,000,
we gotta win
if
first.
we get to 1,000,
we gotta get to 1,000 first. Exactly.
So thank you guys. We will see you on Saturday.